What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm Brent, man, Sean.
And I'm Corey.
And this is No Labels Necessary, episode number 11. Catch us every Tuesday, every Thursday here on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to podcast shows, whatever you want to call them. For y'all who do not know us, we're the co-founders of Contrabrand Agency, among other things, but we've helped many artists grow from ground zero, work with the major labels, major artists, and because of that background, we love talking music, branding, business. So we're about to do that and have some fun today. But before we get into it, gotta have a quick little celebration, because I've told y'all in these comments, man, like, look, bro, we do this. You know what I'm saying? So just a little clout moment.
Gotta celebrate the wins.
Gotta celebrate the wins. Gotta celebrate the wins, y'all. So if you look, there's a Billboard article. Is the music industry's love affair with TikTok dead? I'm not gonna read this whole thing to y'all. That's not the point. The point is Contrabrand Agency. That's our music marketing agency again. For y'all who do not know, we got a little mention, and we sure appreciate it. So go ahead and check out this article. TikTok is a very interesting title, obviously, and something to check out and something to think about. As many of y'all might know, we actually have done a lot on TikTok, made a lot of artists blow up on TikTok. Many of the industry knows us for TikTok, but that is not what we're going to get into today. Just wanted to do a quick little celebration, show some love, and appreciate y'all for, following us along this journey, because, look, we came a long way. That's all I got to say. We've come a long way.
We might have to revisit that, though. That is an interesting topic.
It is an interesting topic.
It is an interesting topic.
It 100% is an interesting topic. So that it is something worth getting into. But I feel like we TikToked out. We talked a lot about TikTok. So this first article though, that we want to talk about is this one right here. Sped up remixes of songs are on the rise, both on TikTok and the charts. Mm-hmm. I need y'all to really process this, but it's not just going to be the idea. If you think you already know what we're going to talk about and how things are going to go, it's not just, hey, speed up your song and blow it up. This is a very interesting article, and it brings up some very strong talking points. But for those of y'all who have been watching loyally, few episodes, we already talked about Summer Walker dropping her project, right? Mm-hmm. She dropped an entire project, sped up songs. But what was the crazy thing about it? It was just her old project had already been out for maybe 3 years.
Yeah, like 2-3 years, yeah.
Been out for 2-3 years. And they say, you know what? Hey, we just going to pay the mix engineer or whatever, whoever, you know what I mean? Shoot, Summer could probably learn how to do that herself off of YouTube. We're going to speed this bitch up, and then we're going to drop the whole project again, right? Part of that is what this climate is creating that we're going to go over in this article. But I want to just straight up read it so y'all can understand, this is different. It's a lot to understand in terms of the culture and music today and how it works. All right. So starting at the top, up-tempo reworks have been rising across TikTok for years, helping push songs atop the charts, and record labels have taken notice. Sped up songs have led to significant streaming bumps for artists such as Ellie Goulding's Lights, Sam Smith's I'm Not the Only One. It's funny, I went and listened to the sped up version of Sam Smith's I'm Not the Only One.
Yeah.
And I was like, this shit sounds slow as hell. I forgot how slow the original was, right? So if you take anything from super slow, it's just like a medium pace at that point. Nelly Furtado's Say It Right. I ain't heard a Nelly song in a long
time. In a minute, bro. What?
Yeah. Michael Bublé's Sway. Bruh, this song, you know this song. You've heard this on TikTok.
Have I?
Yes. I'm going to play it real quick before we get through the article.
I was about to say Michael Bublé.
Nothing wrong with a little ADD.
Michael Bublé.
You know what I mean? But Michael Bublé, Sway, TikTok. I was like, oh shit, this has been popping on TikTok for a long time.
That's why I love TikTok, bro. You never know who it's gonna be, bro. It could really be anybody, man.
Check. Oh, matter of fact, I ain't even have to do all this. They do it in the article. Let's go back. And Michael Bublé, Sway, one of the latest renditions, go viral on TikTok. Ooh, on TikTok? Heard of it on TikTok before?
No.
Oh,
man. It ain't hit my side.
I've heard it on TikTok. There's this trend right here. When marimba rhythms start to play, dance with me. Exactly. It was like people be doing stuff and then start over and then, you know, get undressed and dressed or whatever, and then obviously create a really cool loop with it. That's why it started popping on TikTok and created a trend. Now, let's finish this article, though, and get right into it. The style has become increasingly popular among Gen Z TikTok users, leading to a new level of mainstream exposure. Back in the day, we used club mixes. Who was this talking? Okay. Back in the day, we used club remixes to diversify the visibility of a record. Nima Nasseri, global head of A&R and strategy for Universal Music Group, music strategy tactics team. God, that's a lot.
It's a long Billboard.
Exactly. The purpose was to bring back visibility to the main version. We've seen that, right? Remixes. We remember heavy remix culture.
Yeah.
Changing the version of a song definitely brings visibility back to the same record. People just think it does it for the new record, but you will get your streams increased for the old record. For example, when 24K Golden, when we were doing City of Angels, right? There was that remix.
Yeah.
The remix was going crazy on TikTok before the main version was going crazy.
Yeah.
The main version was doing well, but the remix like just shot out and did way better. And it wasn't up on Spotify yet, the remix.
Yeah.
All right, you gotta go through all the label stuff, and they got their strategy in mind. But it started making the regular version go up just off of that alone. So, like, to that point, yet again, these different versions 100% can boost the streaming of the regular version. It's not like, hey, we're forgetting about the regular version. Now, let me see. Instead of spending $50,000 for a remix from instead of spending $50,000 for a remix from a big name DJ, you're spending relatively minimal cost on a sped up rendition and getting much more return on reach. Man,
crazy.
All you gotta do is, hey DJs, I didn't realize y'all were getting cut out the game too. Tough. But I told y'all, like, you just look up a tutorial and then speed that thing up yourself. You can figure that shit out yourself.
Right, exactly, bro.
Part of TikTok's power comes from a subgenre known as nightcore, which also centers on sped up and pitched up music. While popular music style has debuted long before a social media platform, its hit-making power pales in comparison to TikTok. Now, I actually looked up nightcore because I wasn't familiar. I'm familiar with many different cores, but nightcore, I was not. So, it says nightcore is a nightcore edit is a version of a track that increases the pitch and speeds up its source material by approximately 35%. That's all it is. 35% speed up.
I got a formula for it. That's
exactly.
Crazy. That's
exactly.
crazy.
That's interesting. This gives an effect almost identical to playing a 33 and a third RPM vinyl record at 45 RPM. Now, once you get into this little technical shit, you about 20 yards away from my wheelhouse. So you know what that means?
Bro, I've never heard that before.
Okay, what?
The 20 yards away from my wheelhouse?
I never said it. I don't know. I just out of my wheelhouse, you know what I mean? I kind of get it, but I don't get it. You know?
Yeah, no, I don't speak vinyl like that either, okay. To be real, yeah.
Yeah, but this shit is... Okay. Point is, it sounds interesting, actually, though I do like this reference because maybe there's something to it. Yeah. Maybe that was why it built as a subgenre, trying to get the vinyl effect. Now I want to like look deeper into it myself to try to compare and contrast.
Yeah, I think somebody left a comment on one of the videos telling us to check out this maybe.
Really?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay. So
I remember seeing a chord at the end of it.
We're going to have to look that up then. So continuing on, now that y'all know what nightcore is, you know, a little education here. Here's another quote. We're seeing in consumer surveys how much Gen Z wants to actively participate in music. This is the key that you need to hear from here. Added Tatiana Cirizano, a research analyst and former Billboard reporter. They don't just listen and consume passively. They make their own videos and remix the song.
The fans are the DJ Khaled's.
That is the sauce right there.
Yeah.
That is the thing to think about because TikTok really sped up this culture.
Yeah.
People, once content became easier to create and these editing tools became more accessible to everybody and normal people, and then social media, you start to see people play with things like that, you know, through a meme and
short little sound,
trying to do something funny. So people started to do that, but then TikTok, literally, its core, people posting to the video, interacting with the song far beyond what we had seen before. That was what blew my mind. It's like, bro, these are real people. We marking a song we used to see in numbers move, bro. We see like real people in their room doing shit just off of this little thing we just made happen on in terms of a marketing campaign. So I guess when you go from there, you actually get accustomed to, you're in the editing platform. Why don't I just play with it a little bit more?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I can see how that creates that natural transition to not only just want to be involved with it more, but to actually do it. That's the difference. Like, people always think I hear a better version or I know a better version or you should just play with it like this.
Exactly.
But to be in the DAW or the video editing platform or be able to do it so quickly on your phone, the way things are these days, I can see why like that culture is sped up so much.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of like you said, like it's making what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And we've all been there.
Yep.
And where I like where it's going is the fact that artists are actually starting to embrace it. You know what I'm saying? Because like, when you brought up the 24K Golden thing, like that makes me think like there were other songs that were kind of getting that treatment at the time that didn't really take advantage of it because I guess I feel like sometimes artists like feel a certain way about the fans changing up their music. Right, you hear this version, you're like, okay, I like that you like this, but this isn't the version that I gave to you. So I could understand why some of them maybe didn't want to embrace it. But we talked about back then that it was smarter of 24K Golden to embrace that City of Angels remix, right?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, actually, I think he actually sought it out from Buddy too.
Okay, like made it happen because there were a lot of those different like remixes like popping up on the time. Yeah,
and through him, which is why Golden always so smart. You know, there's always, you know, marketing is never going to be perfect and always be guaranteed.
Yeah.
But to see that type of thing and think of it and yourself and to move actively on it or at least embrace it if it's moving, no matter what, one way or another, is big, like what you're saying.
Yeah.
But like I said, artistically, that's so anti-artist. There's so many artists, especially if you go old school, like, this is how the work should be. I've spent so much time on this perfection. Like, I used to watch TMZ a lot, like the show. And it's so funny because I always heard people beefing with TMZ. They don't fuck with TMZ, da-da-da. Yeah. I'm like, bro, this shit's hilarious, bro. And it's random. I don't even have to turn the remote because it keeps changing for me. That's how I thought of it, right? And then I wasn't aware of like the online blog. And I was like, oh, okay, I can see how. Like, people don't like this thing. But the show was like a different thing. That's all I knew of it. And there was this episode where they were talking about, apparently there was this chef that got heated with Nicki Minaj because he makes steak, man. Like, he really does this shit. And they brought the steak out to the table, and Nicki asked for some A1 sauce. And apparently, hey, bro, we don't switch it up. We don't add no sauce to my sauce. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is it.
We don't touch the recipe.
We don't touch the recipe. They were heated. But that's how a lot of artists, right? A chef is a type of artist, right?
Yeah.
They treat their music. So it was like, no, you don't touch this. This is perfection. I am the trained one, nigga. You know, like, who are you to add something to what I already do? So that culture, I wonder if it's changing within artists as well. I feel like maybe a lot of artists coming up would get it, especially coming from Gen Z, because they were probably actively doing it themselves.
Yeah.
With music, you grow up in that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, I would definitely be interested to hear from artists. Like, y'all drop in the comments or whatever how y'all feel about this. But like, people changing y'all music, if y'all would support it or not.
Yeah, bro, and it's such a easy oop. Like the speed up thing, especially, bro, and like that.
Yes.
That's the thing that I think. Well, going back to the Summer Walker thing, what I liked about that is it is the artist trusting the fan, but the fans have shown that they can be right a lot of the time.
Yes.
Right? Like, fans have been the ones that come up with numerous trends, especially on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Numerous mashups of random shit put together, bro.
You say right? The caveat is like, for what purpose?
Yeah. Like,
but we know right. When we talk about right, we're talking about blowing some shit up.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Right for the consumer and what they might want to hear. Wrong for everything else. For all the back end trouble that's gonna come from it.
Right.
But that aside, these are great cultural, low risk investments. That's how I feel about the sped up versions.
Yes.
Like you said earlier, it takes nothing to ask your engineer or sit in your Windows Media Player for a little bit and just speed them up, bro. And if that's something,
Windows Media Player,
and speed that shit up. And it's like, if the fan culture is showing you that they want something like this, I just feel like give it to him, you know. Outside of the artistic merit you have about the song.
Because today, and this is another thing that's changed this. Part of the interruption, I have to take this quick commercial break to let you know that we are sponsored by me, because I signed myself. We signed ourselves. It's Brand Man Network. That's why we're called No Labels Necessary, because no label, nobody else is necessary for us to get the train moving. So if you could just subscribe to show appreciation, we'd really appreciate that. Back to the program.
That they want something like this. I just feel like give it to them, you know. Outside of the artistic merit you have about the song.
Because today, and this is another thing that's changed this, we don't have to worry about the price of shelf space.
Yeah.
Right? So it might have been a real thing to have to press some shit up.
Yeah.
Send it on out again just for people to have access. Then you have the time frame from getting that feedback loop, understanding that I should create this, making a decision, putting it out. Now it might not even be as hot anymore, right? So the ability to capitalize wasn't necessarily as strong. You would have to truly commit to marketing it. Now, they did it themselves on TikTok and all I gotta do is support it, right? Or I might hear somebody do something that's like, okay, I could push this a little bit through some content, which is low cost, versus before, you know, when Diddy was remixing it, he almost had to sell the remix, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make a dope track. We were doing a music video to it. We put marketing dollars behind it to the point that a lot of the remixes were damn near new songs.
Yeah.
Like barely, you know, it had enough related, but it was a completely different beat. You just speeding up a song here, and even if it is a remix, again, the amount of support that needs to go behind it from your physical efforts is so much less. Why not?
Yeah, it's such a natural slide into what a fan culture is.
It's a slide, man.
It's a natural slide. It's no different than, you know, how artists will have the instrumental version of a song. If I was an artist, anytime there was a fan cultural trend thing going on, I'm adding that into my song rollout. Y'all getting the clean version, the dirty version, the TikTok drill version, right? The sped up version. And then all the other, you know, maybe like DJ remixes and things you put together, bro. It's like, why not hit all these different niches? And that's no different than hitting like those niches, like the DJ niche, like the EDM, like kind of like how those DJs do. It's no different than that.
Bro, I pitched this to TDE in my young marketer days, bro. And, you know, I understand why it wasn't necessarily listened to and accepted. I'm just a young random guy texting one of the artists, you know what I mean? Not texting, DMing, you know, but oh man, I love your music. Have a great idea for you or whatever that I think will help. And he was like, yo, what? And I basically told him exactly what you just said. Do this version, that version, and have it all under your own page so you own all of it.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're going to get the streaming revenue. You're going to get the views. I was thinking heavily about that stuff at that point. Now, being even more involved, the stronger argument then becomes it's going to happen regardless. Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the culture we live in. And, you know, I'm big on one thing has to happen before another. All right? So many times in our era today, like, we like to feel like we're doing things better than the old generation, or we'll use our perspective of today to say, why did this happen culturally, X, Y, and Z, when it's like, nah, that's how shit had to go to get to where it is now. All right. And I'm saying that because YouTube had to exist. That's one of the things that had to exist for us to do it in this way now on the internet. You got all these remixes that happen on the internet of people just doing it. All these sped up versions, they've existed randomly, and they'll have, you know, 200 views, barely get seen by somebody. You'll have the instrumental version. You'll have a version that's not that, but it kind of is because somebody's trying to really just sell a beat, but they don't want to get the copyright. So there's like all these versions every time something comes out, especially if it's like an artist that's going to hit. Right? That's already been happening. Now it's just you saying, I'm going to put it under my house so I can get every benefit from it. And I'm going to feed my consumers so well, they don't even want to hear none of that other stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, all right, I might want to hear 5 versions of this song, but I ain't trying to hear 6. You know, like there becomes a point where, okay, I'm going to move on to something else.
Yeah, because I remember when Travis Scott put out Goosebumps, bro, he dropped like so many versions of that shit. And they were versions where you could tell that they were meant to hit maybe his core fan in a different space.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it's like, okay, I'm gonna stay with you when you over here, you know, not necessarily when you were the original song would kind of live and exist. Lil Nas X did the same thing with Old Town Road, right? And so I look at it like there are traditional music industry ways that are gone about that are basically the same shit. You know, when this song comes out, I need to get this version, this EDM version from this type of EDM DJ, right? I look at it as like the exact same way. Let's make a TikTok version of this in these formats, whatever's going on. Now it's the sped up stuff. Who knows where it'll be? You know what I'm saying? Like a couple of months. But to me, the sped up version one is just the easiest because of how easy it is to do, bro. It's like it's crazy. It's crazy like how much like they really fuck with the sped up versions on there. But it's also crazier how little people are taking advantage of it.
Yo, you make a really good point when you talk about the Travis example and having some versions where like, all right, it's clearly not for me, right? And that's what a real fan can do, right? So you recognize it's clearly not for you, but again, doing that today is cheaper to make happen. But the weird nuance that might fend some people off is you don't put it in a different place, all right? So if I'm Lil Nas X, he had like, I don't know how many visualizers for, I'm trying to think of which video that was, that had like 5 different visualizers and versions for it. It might have been the Jack Harlow joint. Industry Baby without music, yeah, here it is. Let me put it on the screen. So if you look here, so you got Industry Baby without music.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jack Harlow, Lil Nas X, Industry Baby. Then he had, so what's the, uncensored video, and then he has the official video, and then he has the prelude, right? And today, all those things are going to be on one YouTube page. So it might make some people uneasy because the fans are going to have the potential to see all of them.
Yeah.
Where back in the day, if I'm going to go do my EDM shit, you know, you just go do it, and then your regular fans might not even hear about it if they're not consuming on those particular channels.
Yeah.
So you don't lose like the brand credibility because, you know, that's like a concern for some people. You're like, you know, how many times have you heard like a EDM joint or some version of a song with an artist, and you be like, man, when they do this shit?
Yeah, bro. But I be so happy they did it in that moment. Because whatever situation I'm in when I'm hearing it, I'm like, man, I'm glad this is here. Because this shit hit. Yeah, so I can kind of see that.
So it's, but I think at the end of the day, it's one of those things that's clear that fans understand so much now. You don't really have to worry about. Like most people, if they're a fan of you, if it's not for them, they'll just be like, it's not for them.
They're gonna ignore it and move past us.
So I know why he's doing this. I know who this is for.
Yeah, like fans get it, bro. Fans get you trying to promote it and push it out. So that's why I battle with it. It's like, yeah. Maybe they care in a moment. Oh, he dropped a EDM version of this. I don't really like EDM music. They're gonna scroll past it, and then just like that, they don't care anymore. They're back to listening to the original song. Because you said the biggest thing earlier, bro. Like all this just makes people either curious about where the song came from. Because I know whenever I hear any type of mashup, remix, you know what I'm saying, sped up thing, a piece of you wants to know what it was based off of, right? So you might get just one listen of the original song out of somebody finding the sped up version and being like, man, what is this shit, right? I never heard this before. So, but I feel like you get it. I don't know. I just keep going back to it. It's such an easy oop, bro. It's such an easy oop.
It is.
Such an easy cultural oop.
It is. So, I mean, look, I think the biggest takeaway from this whole thing, again, is the fan engagement, though. All right? Fans really want to be involved.
The fans can be right.
They're going to be involved.
Yeah.
Yes, they can be right and create a better version of something. So sometimes it can be cool to actually get them involved from ground zero.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Have them a part of the entire story and the entire journey. And maybe you can create environments for something like that. It's like going to like some of these museums and they have like interactive things you can put together, right? And make things sound differently. Like maybe you can create experiences like that for them to play with your music. The STEM player is a perfect example of that. That's all this is.
Yeah.
Allowing the fans to pick and choose with your music.
Yeah. Right? What version they want to hear.
Yeah. Whatever version they want to hear of your song. So I don't think that just actually, by the way, I don't think that just applies to the music itself. There's probably other aspects of your brand that same thing can go, whether it's
merch,
a show,
merch designs, yeah,
definitely merch, 100% merch.
Remember there was that one company we ran into at I can't remember what conference we was at, but they had it set up in an app where fans could pick the set list that they're performing with, right? Like you could, yeah. So and you could throw your recommendation in there, and maybe the fan plays the song you want. I mean, maybe the artist plays the song you want, maybe they don't, right? So yeah, we're definitely starting to see it, and I didn't even think of it like that. Like the social media content is the easiest way to train fans to even want a hand and stuff like that, right? But then when they get the chance to do it, it's like, oh shit, like he's really gonna let me pick what song he'll perform.
Yep.
It's the ultimate line of fan engagement.
Yeah, and once enough people do it, they're gonna almost expect to be involved in some way.
Yeah, they're gonna want a part. But it's cool because you can offload some of the creation workload onto the fan.
Hey. I think the only conflict comes from, again, that artistic vision versus fans. So you might have to manage how you do it, how much you do it. Maybe you're not doing it with everything. Maybe you make a fan special edition of your merch every single year. I don't know, right? Just making stuff up, right? To make sure fans don't control your entire brand or creative process. But it's something you have to take advantage of, or is going to be increasingly something that you need to take advantage of from a profit maximization standpoint, from a fan relationship building standpoint. Because like I said, it's one thing to say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this a whole bunch because it builds the relationship. But it's another thing to say, oh shit, the marketplace has changed and fans expect to do this. So I need to do this to an extent so they don't feel a type of way.
Yeah, exactly.
Because now, fans are like, oh, you don't even care. How come you don't care? How come you don't respond to my comments, right? Yeah. It's like that type of thing once the climate shifts.
Yeah. But I know those are always the best campaigns when the fans come up with some shit that makes it go, you're like, oh, thanks, guys. Like, thank you for this. Bro, such an easy oop.
Makes life so much easier. For real.
Appreciate you, random fan. I would have never came up with that.
Oh man,
I'll take it from here.
Yeah. So here's another thing. All right, NF. If y'all know who NF is or not, let me make sure it's showing me on the screen. NF says there's something artists need to worry about a lot more than becoming popular. What's harder than becoming popular in music? Well, we're gonna talk about it. NF. I don't know if y'all know who NF is. He's a rapper though. He's really killing the game. He says, new artists nowadays, I feel like have a harder time staying relevant than they do becoming popular. Meaning, with the way the internet is, you might have something pop off, but it's way harder to keep anyone's attention. You might have something pop off, but it's way harder to keep someone's attention.
And that must be watching the pod, because I feel like we had an episode where we said that, you know what I'm saying?
I think we did talk about that.
Right. It's way easier to get the attention than it is to hold it.
Way
easier, bro.
Way.
Because at the entry point, you get the benefit of the doubt. This is new. You're exciting, right? Maybe you've done something I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Maybe you're the first person of this type to hit my way. But after a while, it's like, okay, you did it one time, but can you do it again? Okay, can you do it again?
Yeah.
Okay, can you do it again, right?
Do it again.
And then you're trapped in the loop.
Trapped,
and that's where the marathon of it all kicks in. The moment you get people's attention, people now have expectations of you.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, man. It's this weird space where, like you said, it's not only easier to get attention in some ways than it was in the past, right? It's more accessible. Accessible doesn't mean ease. So I'll say that it's more accessible for more people to get attention. Especially when we could talk about popular music, we have our avenues, but then there's the competition that not only makes it easier for more people to pop, but it also makes it harder for more people to stay because there's more people, period, that own attention. All right, you're fighting for market share day after day after day. Before, you were fighting with a limited set of artists who were signed to a certain extent. We know the record labels sign a lot of people, but we know they only pay attention to a small portion of that pyramid. And then, now you got those 500 US major label signed artists that you might have been competing with in the past. And I'm just throwing a number out there. It might be more larger than 500. Let's just say it's 5,000. Let me make that number up. Even if it was 5,000 back then, now we're talking about 5 million.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's a huge difference. you have not only more people who would not have been an artist, more people who are actually willing to try to be an artist. Before you got people, I like creating music, but it just isn't in my reach. I don't even see where to go, know where to go. Oh, I can just do this in my house and give it a try versus have to move to LA, have to move to New York, So you got more people who are giving it a real shot.
Yeah.
Then you have more people who are actually able to give it that real shot, but then you got even beyond that, people who are not trying to give it a shot and are getting there by mistake.
Yeah, bro. Right? and it's the only reason I think is it is easy to get the attention is because you can literally just like pay for it now. I also feel like you know the attention sources were a little bit more gatekeep. Now any artist today can just wake up and be like, oh, I learned about Facebook ads from Brand Man Sean. I'm gonna set up a Facebook ad and he's in front of 1,000 people by the end of the afternoon, right? So it's like, and I think with how easy things, with things and how easy they come to get, like they become hard to maintain, pretty much, right? Easy come, easy go, type of thing. Yeah. Because fans have so many other things they could pay attention to. It's not even just about the music at this point. Like you brought up the point, right? 30, well, I don't know how many, let's say 30 years ago, you know what I'm saying? It might have been 20 artists that you knew about at any given time. Mm-hmm. Bro, I looked at my Spotify rap today. That shit said I listened to like something crazy, bro, like 2,800 songs or something this year. That's just crazy, bro, when you think about it. Yeah. That's a lot of music. Yeah. And so
for the same price.
For the same price, bro. It's all under the same Spotify $9.99 umbrella. Yours isn't any more valuable than theirs for that reason alone. And so, yeah, man, that's why you have to give props to the artists that understand how to maintain attention around themselves. However you feel about the methods that they choose to do it, you know, especially the ones that have an understanding of like how to funnel that attention to the music and into the things that don't make them look crazy. You gotta respect it because keeping attention is the hardest part. Yeah, easy, the hardest part.
100%, man. And I'll pull this back up. Like this part, I can't highlight it, but a harder time staying relevant.
Harder time
staying relevant. What does that even mean? Right? Like we just had 21 Savage say Nas isn't relevant. So for entertainment purposes, what does staying relevant mean to you?
Staying relevant is staying in the conversation line of people that care about you. That's what I think. All right.
All right, well, who are the people that care about you? Right? Because you're always in conversation with your mama. Like, you have to be in a certain general conversation in commercial media. Like, can a niche artist be relevant in their niche, and what does that look like?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, what is staying relevant? Go a little bit deeper.
That's why I think because relevancy is situational, right? I could walk into we're in Atlanta, right? There are certain artists that if someone were to come here and go and ask people about those artists, who are you? Or who is this person? Like people would know about them, right? Like they're relevant here. Versus if that same traveling fan could go to maybe Detroit and ask somebody there, have you heard of this Atlanta artist? Mm-hmm. No, we never heard of him before, right? He's not relevant in that situation. That demographic for whatever doesn't care about them. So that's why I feel like relevancy is so it's so subjectional because the group of people who are talking about the thing determine what is relevant and what isn't relevant.
I think that's the thing right there. I just realized we should always put a description before relevant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He is nationally relevant. You know what I mean?
Internationally relevant, yeah.
Locally relevant to Atlanta, right? So then that creates a baseline. Now, if you say, this man ain't relevant to nowhere and nobody, then it's like, oh, shoot, okay, you really trying to be offensive, but you really are making a statement that they lost all relevancy. But I guess for sake of conversation, we'll say whatever the peak is, and we're not even talking about the peak of the peak, right? Because you have, when something goes really far, it'll touch a lot of people who aren't that true fan base anyway. Yeah. It's like the hit song and everybody knows a single song from somebody that they don't know the rest of their catalog. Right? Yeah. But they might have a real fan base. So let's just say the top of your height for your actual target market, I would say maintaining that relevance is the best judgment criteria. When you start losing relevance to those people that actually are within your target market, that's when it becomes a problem. Like however high you go, whatever down is from however high you go within that group, is what losing relevance looks like. But there's a difference between relevance and not being in current conversation and media, right? Because you can take a break, then you come back, and everybody's like, "Yo, I'm happy to see you." It's when you take a break and you come back, and people hey guys, I'm here. Like when that's happening, that's when you realize, okay, something's not right.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that's where the problem comes up is people are always comparing relevancy to like mainstream relevancy.
That's the problem.
But how many artists have we seen that have zero to very little mainstream relevancy that are a lot of times doing better than some of the artists that have that mainstream relevancy, right?
Yeah.
And so you said the biggest thing. As long as you stay in the conversation of the people that care about your niche or care about your thing, right?
Yeah.
Because you asked it, can you be relevant in a different niche? There are probably artists who are. It's like the comedy rappers and things, right? Like there's some artists who like just kill it in a particular niche. If you know about this world, you know about this person. This person is relevant over here. But then, there's a whole nother world of people that don't know that it exists. So that's just the thing I don't like about the relevancy argument is once you hit a certain level of popularity, once your music is streaming really, really well, bro, you are relevant to somebody. Somebody cares. A group out there cares about you.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. So let's give a shout out to, I'll say, just because they shared it, you know what I mean? Just where we got it from. Indie Amplify.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to them.
Shout out to y'all for posting this. And then shout out to 701 Max. I see you liked it. Max, what's up? If y'all don't know about Max, Max is one of the people who is a dope marketer out there in these streets. You can go get some business from him, but he's also somebody who was in our music marketer program where we help artists, marketers, figure out how to build a business for themselves, right? So obviously, we've built a pretty successful music marketing agency. We can help y'all do the same if somebody's interested in that. And then if you're just a label or artist who don't want to build a music marketing agency and make money that way, like we do, you also can just build your own infrastructure.
Come build it.
Come build that infrastructure so you can make your artists pop again and again and again using that same infrastructure we've used to make artists pop again and again and again with so many clients at scale. So one way or another, we'll put a link in the description so y'all can check that out. I didn't even think to talk about that, but seeing Max's name, like, hey, you know what? What's up, Max?
Shout out Max.
Shout out Max, man. He's a really dope marketer, man. He's gonna be one of those strong up and comers, man. In the next couple of years, where a lot of people are gonna know his name. That's my prediction with Max. Let me see. Let's go to the next topic, though. I got a Bryson Tiller thing that I want to talk about. That's straight violating, in my opinion. Bryson is violating the game, but he represents a lot of artists that are violating today, and it's something that I think needs to be fixed, but it's not coming up. So I'm gonna fix that and bring up something else from this interview with Hitboy in DJ Academics, because Hitboy he's laying out some game for y'all, a whole lot of game. And I think y'all
by 20 to 30%. I literally guarantee it, or I will give you.
So you seen the ugly side of the industry where like niggas is seeing you kind of.
I've seen the mountaintop being in the studio with Jay-Z, Beyonce, Kanye West, Spike Lee, John Legend, fucking making beats on the spot. Niggas losing their fucking marbles to having no money, bro. $0 balled up on the ground in Beverly Hills trying to figure out how I'm gonna pay for this rent in this crazy crib that I'm in by myself.
How does that happen? Right? Now, if I were to go to the beginning of this, he talks about he didn't come from money and he wanted to bring all his boys on. He wasn't even spending money on like chains and cars and stuff. He just had hella dudes in a Beverly Hills mansion, and just funding everybody.
Yeah.
Go out to eat. We paying for everything, $2,000 a week to fill up the refrigerator. Money coming in, coming out. So poor spending is one thing, but his label deal also had something to do with it. And I want to talk about that and how he also is interesting how he was still able to have money with a bad label deal. So let's bring up this clip right here.
So we get Niggas in Paris.
Yeah.
Right? What else drops?
So look, so Niggas in Paris comes out. I've been signed to my publishing deal since 2007. Niggas in Paris come out 2011. So I'm like, this is when the money come in, right? You make a big hit, you get the bread. I go to my publishing company. I'm like, okay, what's up? What we doing? Oh no, you in this fucked up contract from 2007. This shit is ancient as fuck. This is for like a 1999 contract. So we can't break you off no bread. You got to keep working, whoop-de-whoop. And I'm like, yo, I didn't even realize till 4 years into my publishing deal. I had been making beats for 3-4 years when I got my publishing deal.
Bro, here's one thing. And I want to play more of that clip. It's really interesting, man. A few things. But I feel like most artists or producers don't realize they have a bad deal until they have success and they're supposed to get money.
Yeah.
You're like, where's the money? And it's like, bro, we're 4 years deep in this deal. Because it takes so long to get that success a lot of times in music, you don't even think about it till, we finally had a moment. Oh, snap, we supposed to be popping. I'm about to be dressed out, about to get my mama a house. Wait, I don't get any money yet? Any money yet? All right, so that is part of what I think makes it so easy to get done wrong in music, because that timeline is so long between when you make the decision that's gonna hurt and the actual pain comes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then there's the natural, I guess, just lack of like you said, the business acumen too that comes with it. Because I think about this all the time, bro. There's every day somebody decides to be a music artist. Every day.
Yep. We
don't know what education level they're at, what they've studied, what they've researched, what they know. It could be a person that just is like, yo, I like playing the guitar. I'm gonna be a music artist. I'm gonna take this seriously. They're not thinking about like, oh, I need to learn the business side of it, right? Or at least there's no way we can guarantee that. So it's one of those things I think is gonna always be unfortunate and just kind of happen, you know. But hopefully content like ours is helping change that. I think about it all the time, bro. Like, hopefully some of y'all out there are getting smarter because of us and not, you know what I'm saying, locking in the crazy shit. Or at least using this as inspiration to go seek that type of information. We don't try to talk about everything. You know, we don't know about everything. We know about what we know. But I think that all the time, bro. Like, I'm like, man, hopefully this marketing video makes you go like, man, I should look up some publishing contract videos. Maybe I should go start researching that space.
I'm with that. That's the mission, right?
Yeah.
Be a gateway, right? We don't need to be the way. We can be a gateway in moments, right? You know, some things you might want to stick exactly what we're saying, but ultimately, opening your mind to the conversation and this being a thing. And I feel like marketing is a great bridge to think
it's
about.
It's a great gateway drug.
It's a really good gateway. Well said.
And I always think about, there was this talk that the Love Renaissance people did. This had to be pre-pandemic at the gathering spot.
Uh-huh.
And I always remember there was this guy in the room who, Justice from Love Renaissance, one of the guys that runs Love Renaissance, he was talking about something in the same realm, I think, like artists getting finessed, like having to talk to like artist friends that have gotten finessed through XYZ. And I remember somebody in the crowd was like, yeah, but you know, how much pressure or how much of that, the blame do we put on the artists for not getting themselves educated enough to keep themselves out of the situation? Which I feel like is a fair point, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's an understandable point. But I always remember, like, Justice said something that, like stuck with me. And he was like, yeah, but you got to think most of these artists are, like, young. They're really young people who just kind of view this art as being the way to get them out of a bad situation. While, like, it's up to you people with the information to figure out how to make it appealing to the artists that they want to get it. Like, he's like, you know, like, he talked about how so many of the educational content creators can just be, like, boring, you know what I'm saying, and not make it to where the average artist is really trying to get it.
Right.
And it shit always stuck with me because I was like, damn, that's a good point, bro. Like, it is, you know, it's like, it's a give and take. You were at fault for not going to seek the information, but maybe I am at fault for not making it entertaining for you to want to seek it, right? Like, we could agree to, you know, we could agree on that, you know what I'm saying? We could take that. So, I just always think about that, bro. Like, hopefully, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, somebody watching this right now, like, man, let me go look up some pub contracts. Let me go learn about admin deals or something.
The way I'm always going to think is the person is at fault. Like the artist, you're at fault for not getting that information.
Yeah.
But I do understand, why it could be hard or feel like it's out of touch, out of reach. Now, of course, as somebody who wants to make an impact, of course, we take accountability.
Yeah, we think about that.
Trying to make things better, right? But when it comes to the real life circumstances, how your life turns out, we can't take no account for that, right?
Yeah,
and even, your managers can't take account for that. I know they should be involved, right? And obviously they should make a lot of decision making, but things ultimately need to fall on you and your own evolution, which is crazy that this is coming up because I got a clip to play that speaks on this directly from an artist, right? But let's keep going with some of this stuff that Hitboy is talking.
Motherfucking didn't know I was in a fucked up deal till 4 years into my shit when I made an actual real legit big hit.
So wait, where did millions come from then?
The millions came from the label deal from Jimmy Iovine.
Oh.
Jimmy Iovine gave me a whole situation to put out my own music, sign artists, whatever the fuck I wanted to do. And I was just a young nigga from...
All right, so that's the interesting thing to me, right? He was able still to get rich, just not off of his own situation, right? And I feel like sometimes this is why a lot of these artists end up screwing other artists, right? The whole thing where they're like, man, how could you do this to me? They did this to you, like this, the pain. Why would you do that to another artist? Some of them I think are just like, hey man, chalk that up to the game.
Sure, like a pyramid scheme.
Pyramid scheme, baby. It's like, look, bro, I already got. You gonna have to get got just so I can catch up, right? It's man versus man. I think that's how a lot of artists look at it. That because it really goes to show. I don't know if we ever got a chance to play that clip where LaRussell was talking about. He was talking to Math Hoffa, right? And he was talking about, yo, Jay-Z need to talk to his people. Do you know they out here doing business like this?
Yeah.
Dude had offered him a deal. It was a horrible deal. I think it was a $15,000 something up front or whatever. And it just didn't have anything else or something. Like it was real, real bad. And then he was like, nah, I can't do this. This don't look right. They send the deal back in like 10 seconds or some short period of time. And there was a $750,000 difference, right? LaRussell goes, all right, cool. I don't want to do business with y'all. One, because I feel like y'all trying to play with me.
Yeah.
Right? Why couldn't you just do the business the right way up front and offer me that deal if that was something that was on the table? Now, of course, there has to be space for a negotiation. But it sounds like the difference was like, hey, you screwing the hell out of me versus you got a better side of the negotiation, right? And then, two, even if it was a legit mistake, I don't want to do business with somebody who's making $750,000 mistakes.
It's a big mistake.
That was
a big mistake.
Where he was coming from. But then Math Hoffa on the other side, and he's older. I don't know how much older, but he's probably in his 30s. He was coming from like, yo, man, but that's just business. You can't take certain things personally. This is just business. And then in a very Gen X, Gen Z interpretation, in terms of like how I'll say it, like LaRussell was like, see that mentality right there, saying it's just business, right, is normalizing this bullshit that y'all do, right? Y'all chalk it up to the game, but you could just do good business and be known for doing good business. And then I think about somebody like Gary Vee, specifically because he always talks about leaving money on the table, and he's still obviously rich as hell, right? Like, and almost he looks at it almost like, I want the person to feel so good about the deal because it gives me leverage, right? And I've even heard very successful businessmen talking about, hey, I got somebody like so good. I negotiated so hard. Even if I won that negotiation, it ruined the relationship going forward. Like either they don't want to do business with me again because they scared that I'm gonna screw them, I'm finesse them, or they just feel a certain way, right? They got done wrong. So long term, that doing business bad is never good for you anyway, right? Now, of course, the way we can navigate is always somebody who might not know, right? Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, but these artists don't know about me. LaRussell wasn't speaking out, like especially when you don't say names, right? Like that's why Birdman had to come out and say, oh, whoa, y'all keep saying my name. Then he finally came out, I was like, y'all keep saying my name, right? And now people are looking at me sideways and might not do business with me a certain way. So you're messing up the money. But most people don't do that. They just say labels in general, and labels are not this entity that's personal doing business with you. You're doing business with people within him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's what makes it easy for it to always feel like it's a new guard. And maybe they're getting treated wrong, but maybe this person, we got a good relationship. Right? It's like that new fucking management company in your apartment. Right? They keep on starting over with a new crop of people and try to act like, hey, we're not those people. We're going to treat you right. Then they screw you over just the same. And before you...
Like, bring them back, man. I miss the old ones.
Bring them back, bro. At least we already had, knew what was up with those folks. They keep starting over. That's what the label crop is like. So, I don't know, man. I think it's really interesting that artists keep screwing other artists, but also on the other side with Hitboy situation, it's dope to then hear, hey, I'm not making money from my situation, but I created a whole new situation, and I was rich off of that alone. So imagine having your situation right and creating a situation on top of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And just looking at all these different ways that you can make money. Like in music directly, we already know the conversation, and we'll continue to go deeper on making money outside of music the normal way. But man, like just having that situation is probably why Rick Ross did what he did, with MMG, and so many other artists have done that. So that's dope to see. You got any other thoughts on this particular clip in general?
Nah, man, I'm just glad he pieced it together, man.
Hey,
he
figured it out.
He was still able to make it work.
Hey, well, I'm gonna say one more thing, which I thought was crazy in this clip. I'm gonna play it. You gotta hear him say this.
Did you know that?
And I thought this was interesting as hell. Let this commercial play. Bam. Pause it. So listen to what he says right here.
Sicko Mode had been recorded, at least Drake's first part to my part of the beat that I gave Travis. All type of shit was going on, but I still just was like, yo, I got no money in my account. I can't reach the niggas that managed me at the time. It was Rock Nation. I'm trying to get niggas to hit me back, fuck with me. Niggas not hitting me. I'm just completely on my own. I had no money in my account, bro.
Man.
He just said, I can't reach my managers.
My managers, bro?
I can't reach them.
The one person that's supposed to be reachable? Or at least most of the time. I mean, you know how they go.
That shit just sounded crazy to me, man. That shit sounded crazy. And, I know in some of these situations, there's the multi-manager situation and how that works in the company, but can't reach. I could understand even a little bit of deprioritization.
But not while Sicko Mode is popping off.
It wasn't popping off. It wasn't out yet.
Oh, okay.
It was recorded. Drake had done the verse, but
Travis
was on it, right?
He's
in between.
Yeah. Okay, you're right.
Once that happens, we know how people move. No, they all on his dick at that moment. Like that's not a thing. And that's the point. Like the ebbs and flows, the funny business, like when people are real and when they aren't real. So. Again, I can understand a little bit of deprioritization, all right? And nobody wants to hear that, but look, attention is a limited resource, right?
In all angles, in all aspects.
That's why we say, hey, we'll work on this rollout and that rollout. Like a company like TDE has done it very well, but in the moment that SZA's being pushed, even Kendrick Lamar is not necessarily the priority in that particular moment. Maybe even on a macro, he is the overall. Obviously, he's not with them anymore, but I'm just like giving a clear example people would know. So I understand a little bit of deprioritization, but cannot reach.
That's the point where, we don't know what situations look like, but that's the point where I'm looking for, a new manager probably.
Right.
Well, right. I don't know. I like you said, you give both sides maybe a little bit.
Of course, this is what I on the other side. Yeah. But again, that sounds crazy.
It sounds crazy, bro. It sounds wild. And to pair with that, while Sicko Mode was getting made, bro, you ignoring him while Sicko Mode's about to come out, bro. Crazy.
This greatness. And you up there ignoring
this masterpiece. Especially seeing where it went too, bro.
Yeah.
That's probably one of those situations where the manager looks back and go like, damn, I almost fucked up.
Yeah. Hey, probably. You're like, dang, oh snap, we are paying attention. Let me pretend and get back in good graces and get myself together. Because, Sicko Mode, that was probably his biggest moment since Niggas in Paris. Of course, he's done a lot, but since Niggas in Paris,
definitely,
because he's done Beyonce XO actually as well. I didn't realize that song was as big as it was. Like it has like 187 million on YouTube in the YouTube video, but it's just it's Beyonce.
Yeah,
like that song isn't even personally memorable or anything, but that's still, for like a better word, it's a moment, right? So maybe that might be somewhere near Sicko Mode in terms of actual numbers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like all around. But as far as actual great songs in a true moment, obviously Sicko Mode and Niggas in Pairs they pale and compare. So that shit's crazy. All I can say is watch who you're doing business with and the relationships you have, and then when shit goes wrong, pay attention to how that goes too.
Pay attention to how people moving and talking to you, man.
And look, if you still got business with them, just also be aware of what you're working with. That's all I can say to that.
Yeah.
You don't have any sage Barkley advice for the folks?
Nah, man, just read your paper. Get somebody to read the paperwork. That's all I got. And research. You know what I'm saying? Go into the situation knowing something.
Right. Well, hey, look, we haven't played that many clips in a while. This episode, though, we actually gonna have quite a few. Because remember, I told you, artist business was something that we will be talking about later. Brent Faiyaz, y'all should all watch his full interview. We will put it in the description. EJ, make sure you put that in the description too. And if y'all watch it, make sure y'all watch it clicking our link in our bio. You know what I mean? Give us that additional YouTube watch time. But man, it's this right here, man.
Brent done popped out from under the rock.
Yeah, I had literally never seen one personally interview for him before, but man, he spits a lot of game, and I love where his head is in his interview. So check this out right here.
If it's one thing I kind of learned now, it's that the music business is just a business, right? Like when you're an artist, you kind of put everything into it. Like that's your livelihood, that's your whole life. It's life or death. I eat, sleep, and breathe this shit. And then going into it, you take meetings. People know that shit. So like they're gonna take advantage of the fact that you eat, sleep, and breathe this shit. You're not gonna have the business acumen because you spent so much time focused on your artistic craft, right? So then here comes somebody that's sitting, calculating, pressing buttons and shit, and they're like, here goes somebody to eat, sleep, breathe, and dream music all day, every day. Like I'm finna latch onto that. But if it's one thing that really like,
all right, so that's one thing. It's multiple clips I want to play from this one as well, but like that whole idea that we know is what makes our great artists a lot of times.
Yeah,
you eat,
that's why we like them.
Sleep, breathe.
That's all you want to do.
Dedicated. You were the one who took that leap. Many people have that creative dream and wanting to be an artist, but they're like, man, that's risky. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like a lot of people might want to hop on the block and slang a little bit, but it's like, that's a little bit too much common sense. Now, in my head right now, I'm just going to go to school. There's some people who want to say, yo, I really would love to dedicate, but they're not bringing in money fast enough as an artist. You took that full leap and dedicated and put all that time into it. But what comes from that is it's impossible when you do that to truly know this business like you should.
Yeah.
All right. Now, of course you can, and many artists are now doing that. But in general, for most artists, they don't even have an interest in it. And that's, I think, part of something that's been sold and fed to artists to their detriment. You can do both. You might not necessarily be eat, sleep, breathe, business 24/7, but I feel like there's almost a sentiment to it in many artists where they think being business minded almost makes them not an artist.
Not knowing that some of the best artists were very business minded.
Some of the best ones are very business minded, bro.
Like you meet some of these people and they talk about things behind the scene. You like, damn, you know about YouTube analytics? Like you care about XYZ, right? And so it's one of those things where I think at this point, if you want to get in the game, you have to understand at least something about the business. You may not have to become an expert, but you know enough to understand like how to find somebody in that space that can be A1 for you pretty much.
Yep.
At least to like that degree, because it's a lot, but like I said, it's a lot, but it's a necessary evil. You know what I'm saying?
Very necessary. Because like I said, people are taking advantage. They understand. They don't even expect you to know shit. All right, Michael Jackson had this quote when he was talking about the labels didn't expect an artist to be able to outsmart him like that, which is why so many of them were mad at him. Like, we know the business that Michael Jackson did. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And obviously he's one of those artists and business-minded people. Prince was an artist and business-minded person, right? you can 100% do both, but they don't expect you to do both. Even knowing a lot of the basics kind of prevents you from falling for a lot of the okie doke. So once you start talking some of it and they're aware, whoa, they know a little bit of their shit, they're not just gonna come to you with any crazy thing because they know they're gonna be looked at crazy.
Yeah, they like this dude on a different level. This dude, this girl's on a different level. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, let me watch out because then I'm gonna look crazy. I'm gonna look like a bad guy. And that's the thing. In music, it's one of those weird spaces. You got a lot of people that are, you know, doing bad things, but nobody wants to be looked at as a bad guy. Right? So it's like, okay, I'm gonna go screw that other artist over, and then I'm gonna try to like even it out here. I can't go violate around him because he's gonna call me out, or he's gonna recognize it. She's gonna recognize it, right? So having a little bit of that knowledge again literally becomes preventative after a while as well. Once people are just aware that you're aware. Now there's still so many details. Music is really one of the more complicated businesses in terms of understanding all the nuances, where money can be made, how money gets broken down, So there is that thing that you need to spend time on. But I would say Brent, based on hearing this conversation, like he's already recognized as a true artist.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, we fought with Brent.
This conversation like lets me know that he's one of those true artists that also has a business mind. Oh, by the way, I don't think I'm gonna play this part. He actually said I was one of those people who were like, I'm not interested in the business at all.
Mm-hmm.
Then he just saw a need for it. He's independent. He's making hella bread right now.
Yeah, bro. I remember there was a video like a long time ago where I think his manager was breaking down their touring setup, and how they dived into analytics. And I feel like going back to how important it is to have certain people on your team, I feel like the smart artist is going to be around that, and you're seeing how the people around you are making these different decisions based on it, and you should at least want to naturally become curious about it. You know, like we'll get clients like that sometimes. They don't want to know as much about the marketing as we know, but they want some explanations, right? Like, can you educate me enough that if I go into a room, I can at least not sound like a dumbass? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And we tell them, like, we will.
Yeah, like, thanks for being that way.
There's never any artists when they're asking us questions like how campaigns are going, trying to understand analytics and all that stuff. We'll tell you everything. I know that some people might try to keep people in the dark because maybe they don't want to be understood because they feel like they're going to realize I'm finessing or whatever. That's not something that we do, right? We hear more about it, but it's like, shoot, for us, we look at it like you understanding this shit actually makes our lives easier because
so much easier.
We have to do less explaining.
Yep.
Your expectations are in line with reality.
Yep. Less random meetings because you're like, oh, I've seen this before. This is what he talked about last time. Blah blah blah.
Exactly. So there's a lot of willing people to like who, if you ask those questions, they will give you that information, and not just the music marketer category, but PR. Label, manager, all that stuff.
I was actually talking about that in one of the marketing meetings a couple of days ago or last week, where it's almost like any job in the music industry comes with a little bit of an educational tag attached to it, right? Like, it's just natural.
Yep.
Like, as you work, because artists, like we just talked about, there are artists that are born every day or decide to become an artist every day, decide to start taking it seriously. You can't possibly hit all of them, and more than likely, if you are any type of working professional in the music industry, you are going to work with somebody who their first time even knowing that this is a thing to do might be when they heard about the fact that you do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I've had lots of people like marketing, like, what's that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, at different levels, bro. Like, like, it's not even just like a small artist thing. So it's one of those things where I think as any working music industry professional, you have to be prepared for it, like to educate your clients to at least some degree, right? Like, some need or want the full stack of education. Some just want to know enough to be able to have an intelligent conversation with the person that is handling it for them. And that I understand. That is something I think that every artist should strive for. You don't have to be a 10, but at least shoot to be like a 2 or a 3, right? Enough to be able to. A 5. I mean, it depends on the subject, I would say, you know. You know. But it's like at least enough to be competent enough to know how to pick the right people for that thing for you, right? You know, you learn enough to do it while you have to do it, but then at some point, these are things that you probably do want to pass off to other people,
right?
You know, like I said, you don't want to become the expert.
I think a good way to say it is enough for if you're dealing with people, you know if they're bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they say shit in your your bell like immediately goes off like, like I've never seen that before, right? I've never heard that before. The last time I did this, it didn't go that way. And it's a lot of things to do that for in music. You know, just, as we see, some parts of the industry are more finessable in that situation than other parts are. But I don't know. I feel like that's part of what makes being in the music industry fun. It really is feeling like you collect the information, bro. You're just learning all this random shit that all pieces together to create the perfect, stable, or not even perfect, but just a stable music career. You know what I'm saying? And then you piece it together a little bit more to get the really successful music career. But you know, I just gotta start looking at the game. The game, all of it is fun, bro. Not just the music. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the career you desire, obviously, and I think a good way to think of it when we talk about the bullshit detector is I've ran ads, obviously, and it didn't even take me to get to the level I am now. Let's just say when I ran ads on Facebook for a given period of time, you know, like 6 months. Let's just say that. If someone came to me and said, yo, this new platform has an advertising platform like Facebook, and bruh, I can get 0.0000 cost per click in comparison, right? Like I'd be like, wait, what? That sounds crazy, but it's a new platform. So I actually don't know about it, but I know enough about advertising, running ads to know that that's crazy. So either this is a great opportunity or this motherfucker lying.
Bullshit.
Right?
Bullshit.
Then on the other side, they can say $50. And I'm like, well, something don't sound right or it's expensive. And maybe there's reasons it's expensive. So it at least gives you enough, you need at least enough information for something to not sound right or to create some level of dissonance in you that causes you to seek more information.
Yeah, or to give you a baseline of what to compare it to. Like I said, like, because in that scenario, maybe that $50, you know what I'm saying, CPC, I don't know if that person is really valuable or something. We learned that. You never know, you never know what to ask of. But like I just like going into situations with a baseline of information. I have a starting point, so I'm not a complete dumbass in this conversation, so I can learn some more about this to eventually figure out who is the right person to do this thing for me, because I don't want to do it. Or, at least, like I said, become an expert in this. Because I do think there are certain things in the music industry that every artist should at least seek to become semi-experts in. I really do feel that way about publishing, you know what I'm saying? Anything publishing and royalty-based, bro, like, just suck it up, become an expert in it.
We need to do a video on that. Don't even say it all, because we need to do it with the details.
Okay.
The few categories, how many categories there are, like, let's just say there's 100 plus. There's 100 general. Here's the 3 you need to know. We need to make that a real specific video.
Some of this should be about survival, bro. Y'all be out here.
Yeah. The survival kit. That's what we're going to call it. Survival kit. But here's the next clip that I want to play with Brent that I find to be really interesting. Along that same lines, but I think this is good advice.
I like to step in the rooms now and take away the fact that I make music out of it. Like, if it's one thing that making music or people knowing your name gives you is access. So you walk into certain rooms that somebody else might have to work their way for years and years and years up a corporate ladder. And you can skip steps because people know your music. But then you get into that room, what you gonna talk music? That's redundant. So it's just like, let me X the fact that I know about music out of the whole equation and see how I could benefit this room if I didn't know music at all.
Yeah, it's your business.
It's a business. Yeah. It's not like so while the music and the art is my life, you can't just focus on strictly enhancing the art without wanting to elevate the business or expand the business. So
to me, that was beautiful.
Yeah, that was a bar. Yeah.
The way he stated that. Like, how can I just get rid of this music in general mentally and have value for myself beyond the fact that I make this music?
Mm-hmm.
That right there says everything, right? Says everything. And again, we already know music, business. When you're in that business, right, you're there because of the music, but the business is the business with or without in its own way.
Yeah.
Because other industries do plenty of business that are not music, right?
Yeah,
Business is still business. And then you look at an artist, all right? And this is the difference. It's easier to separate the humanity when there is no human attached. The product, right? I'm selling these toothbrushes, all right? I'm selling these cars, whatever you're selling. In the music industry, the product is a person.
Yeah, so you can't.
All right? So the issue that comes with that is not understanding you are this product. And that's your value to these people when you're in that room. They're looking at you like this fucking toothbrush. And it sucks to think of it that way. It's on you to create value of yourself in that room other than just being the product, you know? And it's like, oh man, like the product can talk back. That just sounds like complaining to many people because they would love to just be dealing with a product that doesn't talk at all. That's why they try to say, hey, we can do everything for you, right? And all you have to do is stay focused on the business, the music, because now we don't even have to hear your mess. We don't have to hear any complaints. We can make this way easier for ourselves. Not necessarily better for you, just easier for me to go along my life and do my business. Even if I'm not even trying to screw you, I just don't. It's like you had a regular job. I'm not trying to do nothing wrong at work. I just don't want to have my boss asking me all these extra questions, right?
Yeah. Hovering over my shoulder.
Yeah, all over my shoulder, breathing down my neck and shit, bro. Your breath stink. You don't want that. So that's why you still behind the music, right? And being the product. Well, what is your actual value in the room, right? And that's just thinking about the business, right? In ways that obviously are relevant to the business, because music, you know, because you can't just say, oh, I think business and I'm thinking about numbers. I know too many artists that feel like they're doing business because they're trying to negotiate, or they feel like they're doing business based off of terms that just don't apply to actual music business. You know what I mean? You ever like encounter those artists or just people in general? It's like, oh, they're asking this because they feel like they have to ask this to seem professional.
I have to be this type of person here.
Right. Yeah. And we can tell, by the way.
Yeah.
And they will be able to tell. Like, if you think, like, if we can tell, them vultures, them sharks, they definitely can tell, right? When you're just pretending to know, almost as a defense mechanism, versus you actually know your shit, right? So educate yourself for real so you aren't in that position. And then also be willing to give yourself more time, right, to educate yourself. Everything doesn't come with a super long timeline, but be comfortable to be like, nah, I need more time. You know, they be like, oh, you can't leave the room. Nah, bro, I need more time.
Yeah.
You know, like to figure this out, or I need to talk to my lawyer, the team. Obviously, like you just said, I think Brent mentions it somewhere in here too. Angie asked him, like, you know, where does knowledge come from? A lot of it, he said, it comes from the people around him, the team, answering questions or saying, hey, look out. All right. Everybody needs those advisors. So yeah, like, know your shit and don't just pretend, because that pretend, it gets smoked out real quick. Last thing I want to play from Brent, though, is highly, highly interesting to me, just based off of Brent's brand.
Dispense supplements.
And what I knew of his brand. And apparently, I thought of it completely wrong. So check this out.
I was going to try to get through the interview without using the word toxic.
Oh, I hate that word.
Do you hate it?
Hate that word.
I got annoyed when we were doing the little packet of you, and the word toxic kept coming up so much. I can't imagine in your life.
Bruh.
But you lean into it a little bit, no?
Not intentionally. I could do, but it gets to a certain point where once it's attached to you, you could do anything, and that's what people going. It's like a zodiac.
All right, cool. He goes on to say basically like, oh yeah, you sit like a Virgo or a Gemini, like how people can just say anything you do also applies to this label, this attachment. But what I found was interesting was obviously, if you think about Brent Faiyaz's brand, it's Toxic R&B. That's a major label on his brand. Now, of course, there's other segments of it. I wasn't aware that there was never a point that he pushed that or owned that himself.
Yeah, that was fan push, bro.
I didn't realize that was a fan push.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I want to talk about.
I mean, it's his life, you know what I'm saying? So he be talking about some toxic shit in the music, bro. You know? he's king of, probably king of toxic R&B.
He's looked at as king 100%.
Yeah, bro. Like, so I think it's interesting to see once again like where the fans will take it, because it makes me also think about like the future toxic narrative. But that's another, like, fans started making those future memes. You know what I'm saying? And like and putting that out there. That wasn't something he was actively doing. Same with Brent Faiyaz, bro. I've seen lots of toxic Brent Faiyaz memes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, once again, like, fans feel like, hey, this song that you made fits a toxic situation I'm going through. So to me, you are the toxic savior. You know what I'm saying? Like you are making the soundtrack to that brick going through my window at 3 a.m. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, maybe that's not what you want, but that is what I as the fan see for you. That's what it feels like.
That's crazy because in this situation, I would say it worked out positively for him.
Yeah.
Right? And he can find that to be annoying, but
that's why he ain't trying to stop it. He ain't never came out to try to stop it. He's not making romantic love songs. Well, like super romantic, non-toxic stuff to kill it.
In this interview too. Like when he's gonna make love, but like he said, he's kind of just talking about his life and where he is in the moment.
Yeah.
But man, imagine if the fans, not even haters, create a narrative that is detrimental to you. Because fans can do that unknowingly because it's just like short-sighted, and it might be something, that grows and goes way beyond what it actually is in a negative way.
Yeah.
How do you manage that in your opinion?
You can't. I don't feel like you can, but you just gotta hope and pray that your fans are coming up with the memes and the jokes and the narratives that benefit you. Because you brought up a good point. Sometimes it's accidental, bro. Sometimes a fan is just making a joke.
Yeah. And
it spreads out, and now some outlet picks it up and it's looked at as a serious thing. Do you remember a couple years ago when they're technically a Travis Scott fan, but I want to say they were a content creator, but they put out this video of like fake Travis Scott like cheating on Kylie Jenner.
Oh yeah.
And that whole thing just spread, bro. And it came out, the person was like, "Oh, this is just a joke." You know what I'm saying? I just put this together. Like, bro, fans are wild, bro. Fans are willing to go to the extreme with some shit. Because it doesn't affect them, bro. If this shit blows the fuck up, like, I got a cool clout moment out of it, and you the one got to deal with the backlash.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes they use that power for good, sometimes they use it for evil, bro. So that's why I say I don't think there's anything you can do. You just have to hope that you're engaging and cultivating a group of people that like fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? And trying to at least not like put a negative narrative out there about you.
But again, even if they're not trying to. They can. And I think that's what makes it so difficult today because it goes back to DJ Academics and Joe Budden talking about today's fan back, what was it, probably like 2017 now or whatever on Everyday Struggle. I remember they were like, Joe Budden would be like, no, that is not a fan.
Yeah.
And Academics are like, no, yeah, that's what fans do. They'll show up to your house and do some crazy shit.
Egg your window or some shit.
Like, no, man, that ain't a fan. Yeah. For me, the way I'm set up and built, that ain't a fan for me. Like, you're not gonna get like, oh, I get it. You're just like, I'm not gonna be thinking of you in a positive way if you make up some bullshit like I cheated, right?
Yeah.
I get that you got your clout from me. I might not even feel, because I might say, oh yeah, you're immature and you're at a certain place in life. And whatever that age, like if he's that kind of age, if it's a grown man, hell no, for sure. But I might give you some grace and be like, I get, but I'm not gonna fuck with you still. Personally, we ain't taking no pics. You're not coming up on stage, I'm not about to support the moment. But if you go against those moments, you feed them as well, the way the internet works.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's
like
the problem.
It's such a delicate dance, right? Do I ignore it? Do I lean into it? Because sometimes there's power in like laughing at it or leaning into it and just taking it away, right? And so it's such a situational thing. That's why I don't think there's 100%, way to ever just control it. I think it's something you more so have to just monitor and then have I don't know, either just the good gut feeling to know when to take a risk and, like I said, either ignore, lean in, or capitalize off of. Bro, just hope your fans just are not off of your blood. But it's crazy because I've seen other artist fans do it. Like when artists beef, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a really popular like Twitter page I follow, that Nicki fan page that like hates like Lotto, bro, like the rapper Lotto. And like I've just seen them post like crazy shit, you know what I'm saying? And you'll see fans in the comment just like, wow, nah, bro, saying I heard this. And one, you just thinking like, where'd you hear that from? Like who put that information out there, right? But I don't put it past the fans to create narratives, because like I said, for a lot of them, I feel like artists' lives to them are like a game, like a real life video game sometimes, I think, right? It's like we were talking about earlier with the fans wanting to have a decision. This is a thing where like I can have this idea around you or of you, and I can see it have a real world impact on you, right? Like a game, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this person that is typically not obtainable or touchable to me, I can see this thing that I do or help push, like have a real world impact on you. And I think fans like that shit, bro. Like it's interesting from their think about it from their vantage point, bro. It's interesting, bro. Like I threw the pebble at the giant and I saw him flinch. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh shit, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that got to you, right? So that's why I go back to it. I think it's about like what type of people are you cultivating that pay attention to you, because certain, you know, some fan bases breed toxicity, and you can tell like the fan base is just like crazy, bro. It's ugly over there. And then you see some fan bases where like their fans would never do anything crazy to their favorite artists, right? They would never, like you said, harass them somewhere or show up to their house or do certain things. So, you know, with people being people, some of it you naturally can only control so much. But I do think it comes down to what type of people are you as an artist attracting? What type of base are you cultivating?
You definitely curate that yourself.
Yeah. So you try to create as positive an experience as you can, and then, you know, beyond that, man, you know, you just gotta hope for the best.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that, man. I think the really interesting thing you said was throwing a pebble at a giant and making them flinch. Yeah. Right, and then at that moment, that dynamic changes because you go from superhero to somehow
to realistic.
Yeah. You're in my space, and now psychologically, I'm no longer even thinking about my fandom. I'm only thinking about how can I make you flinch again? How can I interact with you again?
It's crazy,
so
bro.
Everything goes out the window. So yeah, no, that's real crazy.
Yeah, bro, fans can really be sadistic, bro, when you think about that shit. That should be crazy.
Hell yeah. Well, look, man, I want to end this thing out with some fun. 2 little quick subjects. You know what I mean? This one. Well, let's talk about this.
Maybe it's an inside joke.
Hold up, we go replay this real quick.
Oh, this is crazy.
Yeah, hell yeah. Oh, come on, play.
Oh, you gotta hit that. Oh, yeah.
Understand? Maybe it's an inside joke. Mm-hmm. We had like 200 people say, ask him about his real voice. I'm like, what does that mean? Is that an inside joke?
Nah, it's real.
What, they think your voice isn't real?
I really talk.
What the fuck? Fuck out of here. That's not how you really talk.
That is my real voice.
I just talk like this when I'm trying to like make music and make content and shit.
But I really talk like this in real life.
Get the fuck out of here.
You can ask anybody. That's how I really talk.
This man is funny.
You talk like my family, like I'm around my family and shit.
That's what I think, man. I'm like, it hit too hard, man. It really got me. I didn't think it was gonna go there at all. I don't know where I thought it was gonna go when he said the real voice, but I am not so deep into the DDG world if I know if it's like an inside joke and something he's done before or whatever.
Oh yeah, man, he trolling, bro.
But I'm like, this has to be a troll. But it was done so smoothly, right? And it was done on somebody else's platform that creates the extra organic nature that it was done and set up like that. It really made me like say, well, I don't know. Let me just put it on the pod. Maybe people in the comments will be able to let us know.
Nah, bro, DDG's a genius and shit like that, bro.
I agree.
I've vouched for DDG for a minute, bro. Like as content creator turned artist, or he's probably the best content creator turned artist, I would argue. And the beautiful thing about it is he doesn't let being like now an industry artist like change his content creator roots, bro. Like you look at his TikTok, you look at his YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like he does content in a really good way and is still also doing the more like industry music artist stuff.
All right, so the only reason I had a hesitation is because I'm like, there's probably some people out there I don't know, right? That was what I was thinking.
Okay,
maybe there's somebody out there I don't know. You know,
there's Chloe and Haley.
Yeah, there's Chloe and Haley, and then there's Queen Nige and all these other people. But what you sold me on having some comfort in saying he probably could be the best is his current activity.
Oh,
he's still active like a true content creator.
Yeah, bro.
Unlike many of those other people who start from that side and then, I won, I made it, and then they chill out. Which, look, to each his own. If you were doing it just to get there, great. You know, if you burned out, great. Or you can't deal anymore, all that stuff, great. But I've seen so many people, they'll come in that way or in different things. Like it'll be on a smaller level. We'll have somebody popping on TikTok and building up, and then the moment we help them get like a viral moment, they just quit.
Yeah.
Right? And now they think they can lean in. And it's like, yo, one, why not keep doing what got you there? And two, now the moment you stop that, you become more and more vulnerable to these music industry traps.
Yeah. You become regular. You know, it's like as the content creator, bro, you have a superpower because you know how to build your own audience.
Yep.
You have a certain build about you that every artist doesn't have.
Yep.
Cause you can like I said, bro, you go look at his YouTube channel, it's crazy, bro. Like he's pumping vlogs out regularly. You know what I'm saying? The engagement is crazy, and you build up this muscle that's coveted in the modern music artist, right? That's why labels would much rather go pick up an influencer who has a decent song because it's a lot quicker to help them succeed than the artist that maybe makes cool music, but now I have to like wait for you to become a good content creator, right? I have to let you find yourself in that aspect and figure out what your formula is for yourself. So to have someone that comes from the other side and is like, hey, well, this part of it, I've already figured out. I figured out the content part. I just now need to figure out the music part, which he did, right? He went through that natural progression. And then, like you said, the cherry on top being like, hey, now he's made it to where he's made it to, but I'm going to continue doing the thing that has made my fans like me. And so, I mean, I know he's signed to a label. You know, we know how that kind of goes. But, I mean, I don't doubt that even if he didn't have the label behind him, he couldn't make the same moves that he makes now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he would have found at least a hit or two on his own eventually without a label. And
he's getting that YouTube money before, bro? Ain't no way.
That's what I'm saying. You're not gonna let up that YouTube money.
Yeah, exactly,
like, you're
bro.
making millions off of YouTube. Why would I let up and then just do this music industry stuff where the money comes different? It comes longer. You don't get paid every month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You talking about going to quarterly or yearly in some of these scenarios, and then you got more people cutting through on it. So all these middlemen, and then oftentimes we know capital becomes an issue creatively. So you're taking away this lifeline when most artists who are starting in that space are trying to figure out how to get out of that space of just relying on music income. Today, the way the income is for a content creator in general, it's like, why would you stop? Why would you stop? So he gets hella credit for that. Then the fan base engagement that comes from it, like you said as well, you can constantly build this marketing engine where you can continue to build out your new music, maintain relevance, or get new relevance for a low cost. And then the last thing is, I think about being a content creator as Kanye West, right? So today, where Kanye is, the level that he creates content is more through different channels, but you see him damn near as much as a DDG, right? Probably more, actually, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not, I always talk about the difference when you go from certain levels and building mystique, right? And what that difference looks like, right? More mystique doesn't mean that people are hearing from you less, right? It just means they're hearing from you not as much from you directly. All right.
Word of mouth.
There's different channels talking about me. I'm on the news. Even if I'm here, you're actually hearing from me directly, I might be on the news, right? Or I hear a news segment about this person versus me just being on my YouTube channel and then they're opting into the consumption of me. It's a different relationship, and it does make it feel like you're bigger because so many people are talking about you, right? Social proof. So there's that. But the thing to acknowledge is Kanye understands content creation needs to happen. All right. Conversation is what he's looking at ultimately. But how do you get that content? Right? Yeah. Because the communication of written, communication of oral, videos, all that's content. So he's like, I need to go on this interview, drop this post on my page, have these things talked about again and again and again. So even at the highest level, there's many artists, at least within moments of time, they know I need to own and be out there when it comes to content, right? They just create content differently. You know, it's like a business person who, I'm so rich, my starting a business is not your starting a business. Oh, my starting this business means I hire a whole team from day one and then they're doing the R&D and they're building it up. I start my business, right? So their content creation is, oh yeah, I allow these people to interview me, but the content gets created, right? And it gets disseminated out there into the universe, and I have some team that directs it and forms narrative versus I gotta go set up the cameras, get in my room, figure this shit out, and then build. But content is still content, and that is probably how I want to like continue to flesh out and start thinking about it, almost like a it's like a wealth gap of content creation.
Yeah.
Right? And what advantages come to still do the same thing, because it always has to get done as you elevate up the ladder.
Yeah, and it's genius though, bro, because you think about it, these media platforms are just, I mean, any platform where the person is taking content creation seriously, they got better equipment than you have, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's going to be higher quality.
Yep.
They already got the flow going, it's things you don't have to think about. It's actually genius, man. I can't even be mad at that.
Bruh, I think that's something that we got to like flesh out even more, and then it might become its own separate video and find some examples or whatever, but I think that's a really dope way to
it's like having a media tour at every level, kind of, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And here's the last video I wanted to play real quick, just for fun. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to QT, baby. Shout out to QT on Panola Road, man. This is the east side. If y'all don't know, like the DeKalb County, man, the east side, like someone said it right here, but it's like a real thing. Let me see if people can read comments. No, it's not gonna show the comments. Maybe I'll make it bigger. There it is. Club QT Panola Road. We really look at QT. It's literally the club, like on the east side. It's one of those things, man. QT. There's a culture around Quick Trip, bro. The things that happen. But why I even played this though? On top of that. The creativity involved of it in it, like
bro, those bubbles.
The song "I Like Bubbles," I like bubbles. That's what he's saying.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And they got bubbles. Like I don't know where they're gonna go with this. You know, maybe we look it up at some point and we find that it's an official music video. Maybe it's for the kids. I don't know. But the creativity and using other locations, man. Like they got a bubble machine on top. I wanted to start doing, I don't know if you saw my voice note about that. Like, we got to start finding just unique, cool, creative video promos like this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, whether it's the actual promotion or how they shot the video, but just like interesting ways people set up. Like, I know, shout out to, I don't know why. I don't even know why your name just left me. Now I can't even say what I wanted to say, because now he gonna know who I'm talking about. He gonna know I forgot his name, so I'm not gonna say it. But I'm gonna go to another example. It was this other guy I remember seeing on the rap IG page. It was a dude who was shooting a music video in a mattress. On a mattress in a store.
I was supposed to say in a mattress. Okay.
Yeah, not in a mattress. Interesting though. He was at a store in the mall and using their mattress to shoot the music video. That right there, interesting, creative, could be cool. You would have to actually see the video to truly judge it. But like anybody doing stuff like that, y'all send it over. Right? Anybody who has unique promos, like the guy who did the parking ticket. Remember he put a parking ticket on people's dashboard, and when they walked to get the parking ticket, it was actually promo for his project.
Oh no, I don't think I saw that.
You didn't see that?
No, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, it was dope as hell.
I'd have been mad at that though. That wouldn't have made me want to listen to it, bro.
It's one of them things.
I'm like, okay.
This is when we get to the depth of marketing, right? You can't just acknowledge the attention. You have to acknowledge the experience and feeling associated with the attention.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like what you just put me through.
Yeah, he just put me through a moment for real. But yeah, he had a parking ticket, and then it had the release date or all the information of his project.
Yeah,
so it's cool, right? So anything like that, if y'all know stuff like that, or y'all are doing stuff like that, find a way to get it to us. You know what I mean? Maybe the comments or whatever. We might formalize it at some point down the road. Another example would be the tissue. I think.
Oh yeah,
Sam told me about that, or you told me about that.
Yeah, the Babytron tissue thing at the show.
Babytron, yeah. He did the tissue crazy promo at the show. So anything cool like that, hey man, y'all let us know whether it's promo specific or if it's, you know what I mean?
If I see good artists marketing out there, bro.
A big ass bubble machine at a gas station.
Yeah, like if you see good artists marketing out there, man, like let us know. We don't see everything, you know what I'm saying? But I like seeing shit like that, bro.
I love it, bro.
Yeah.
I love it.
I like the, like keeping a little guy, a little creativity
nice little guy. And what we're gonna do for the community. This is the network, right? The network is a community. We are going to consolidate that for y'all. So if y'all contribute, y'all are going to eventually have other people contributing, right? And then everybody's going to have these videos where we just break down and show all these ideas so you can get inspiration. You get what I'm saying? So,
sounds like a win-win to me.
Start sending it over. Yeah, win-win, a win-win. Oh, I didn't talk about one thing, but I'm going to talk about, we're going to say that for another episode. For now, appreciate y'all. I never said like and subscribe throughout this whole thing or comment. I did say comment at one point for artists, but make sure y'all like this thing if y'all made it this far. If you ain't subscribed, I don't know how you made it this far and you not subscribed. You just, off of faith, listen to a long ass podcast.
Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome.
But we appreciate it. We sure appreciate it. This is episode 11. I'm Brent Man Sean.
I'm Corey.
And this is No Labels Necessary. Peace.
Peace.
I messed that up. Peace.